Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. Really excited with the progress we've been making on a number of different projects around the room. Lots of builds going on, lots of things getting put up on the walls for display purposes. Really excited with how things are coming together. So let's dive in and take a tour around the room to see all the cool stuff going on. So first off, heading down into the Lego room in the stairway, we've added these awesome posters from the Lego Star Wars celebration in Japan. Really excited that we were able to get these, and I think they're a great addition to the entryway down into the Lego room. I won these at Bricks Cascade this year. There was a trivia competition, and I was fortunate enough to place high enough that I won these, and super happy with how they look here. I think the posters themselves are awesome, and like I said, just a great addition to the entryway down into the Lego room. Give you a few close-ups here. Really, really love what they've done with the artwork on these. Quite amazing. Love the nods to Star Wars. Love the nods to Japan. Really, really well done. Was super happy when I won these, but now that they're up here in the stairway, even happier with them. Love Grogu there with the Mandalorian. So really happy with how these are working out here in the stairway. Not the only thing that we've added to the stairway though. You'll notice that we have been finishing a few more builds and getting them on display here. Some more botanical sets. Love the happy plants here. Love the Space Baby figure. Really, really fun build. Looks awesome. And if we continue around the corner here, you'll notice we've been adding a few more art pieces to the wall. We've got the Harry Potter build there with the Batman ones and the Mickey Mouse. So continuing to fill things out on that wall there. Now, another area that I've been working on here on the way down into the Lego room is continuing to build out our brickheads. Love how the Lego Star Wars sign is working out here. I think it looks awesome here with the Star Wars brickheads. So happy with it there. We will keep it there for the time being, and just continuing to build a few every couple of days and add them into the space here. So pretty soon, I think we will start to turn a corner with this wall and, continue to eliminate the boxes. And, I think this is going to continue to be a really, really impressive sort of display area on the way down into the Lego room. So really happy with how this is coming. It's cool to see more finished builds here and looking forward to continuing to add to it. One other item that was recently framed and put up on the wall, we've got our amazing Spider-Man Lego comic book cover there. Another great piece of Lego artwork. Happy to have it up on the wall. And that's kind of just in general what I'm trying to do. Make sure that all the cool stuff we have ends up on display somewhere around the Lego room. Some of these things might move around from time to time, but really want to get more things up on the walls and onto shelves to display. So really happy with the addition of that there. Also worth noting here, you can see we have finished the Lego dancing figures set. Those are all built and waiting to go up on the wall somewhere. Not entirely sure where they'll go yet, but looking forward to having those on display soon in the Lego room. Now, as you might have seen in a recent video on the channel, we're making excellent progress on the under table layout here in the Lego room. Really happy with our progress here. we were able to run a train around the main loop here, as well as around the track over in the Winter Village corner on the far side. This is coming along really well, and quite excited about the number of trains we should be able to run down here on the lower level, in addition to what we can run on the main tabletop level and on the elevated track level as well. Quite a few trains at once, so I can't wait to get to that point. Actually placed the Tricks Bricks order, which will help unlock a few of the trouble spots we found in the video when we were testing things out. We've got a new T-junction coming for the part, that part over there on the main line. We've got some ballast coming for these R88 and R72 corners, some additional straight track of different sizes that'll help us dial in the intermediate parts here between the two corners, which will line things up a little bit better for our mainline tracks and get us to, sort of a better place in how we're utilizing some of the different track components, especially those monster crossovers there. So really excited with where we're at and with what is coming next when it comes to this lower level layout. Obviously also working on a number of mills modules for this part of the layout, as well as the different modules we're adding to our main tabletop level. On the subject of mills modules, you can see here we've got a lot of mills modules in progress. We've got quite a few that are sort of in the intermediate stage, a lot of brick placed, but still needing a bit more brick and plates. We've got base plates that are waiting for more parts to come in. We've got some more mills module stacks over there. And we've got some things around other parts of the layout as well. So no shortage of mills modules in progress for all the things we have planned for the lower level here, as well as for additional things that we're going to be adding to the tabletop layout. So really excited about that. I've got a number of plate orders ongoing that'll hopefully start to come in soon, so we can get some of these modules finished off and start using them around the layout. So really excited there. Some people have given me some different suggestions on different parts I can use for the interiors of the mills modules. So we'll be trying those out. We'll talk about how that works in upcoming videos on the channel. Also got some really interesting things that I'm going to try with the corner module here, as well as the corner module on the far side there. I've briefly mentioned it on the channel, but we've been to a number of shows in the last few months, and definitely some inspiration, some things that I want to try out based on what I've seen other people doing at those shows, and some things I want to try to accomplish. So looking forward to that. We'll talk about that more in upcoming videos as we start to get the parts ready for those projects. But really excited about the potential there, and just excited about the potential that comes from having all of these mills modules that are coming online. Really exciting opportunities for accomplishing more with our layout here. But as I've mentioned, also really excited to start putting a lot more things on mills modules, things that you will see in the coming weeks that go on the shelves over there for display purposes. Not everything with a mills module underneath it needs to live in the layout all the time. And there's some things I want to do with Jurassic Park, with some of the Wild West stuff. I want to, start unlocking some capabilities there, some modules that we can use in layouts that we might participate in, or maybe, some temporary sort of smaller layouts that we might have around the Lego room or in other rooms in our house. So really excited about what we are going to be doing there over the coming weeks and months. So you will continue to see large stacks of mills modules like these in upcoming videos, but we should be wrapping some of these off soon so that we can start to actually integrate them into the various layouts that we have. So excited about that. One other thing I want to quickly highlight here from a different angle, you'll notice the floor is looking still chaotic, but not quite as chaotic as it has been in previous videos. Working hard at trying to organize and move stuff around so that it's easier to find things, easier to move around the layout in general. You know, I probably, like most people, when things get too chaotic or disorganized, makes it hard to work on stuff, hard to find things, hard to move around and do what you need to do around the space. So really happy with the progress we've made here. Some things have been, completely dealt with. Some things have just been sort of boxed up and moved out of the way for the time being to make it easier to work on other things. And then we'll slowly bring all that stuff back into the space. But, an ongoing project, lots to continue to do there. But you'll notice, I'll come back to this in a few other spots around the room, but trying to make a big push here to get things sort of tidied up, organized better so that, I can find things quicker, getting more things up on walls so that we've got space here to move around and, continue to work on great projects and also be able to appreciate all of the cool things that we're working on and we've finished around the Lego room here. So happy with this. More to come here, more you'll see in different parts of this video, but happy with the way things are progressing in this part of the Lego room here. Which leads us into this area back here. Going to be making some changes over there to clean out a number of the bins. We are going to be moving the Mario bricker builds to kind of start wrapping that corner a bit more. I'm going to be moving that shelf that's been living up on top there in between the overhead layout and those bookcases. That's going to move out of the space temporarily to get prepared for ultimately becoming a shelf across there on that wall, which will let us move a few of our bricker builds models that we have up there out here to live. They're mostly Mario related, the ones I'm seeing up there. There's obviously a few dinosaur ones as well, but I want to get all those Mario builds out here and more of our bricker builds models that we finished out here on the wall in nice displayable areas. So you're going to see that shelf turn into more of an actual display area, a shelf above it with some of the smaller bricker builds models. And then looking at adding a shelf up probably along there roughly, which is going to be a bit of a dinosaur display area. We've got the big T-Rex model. We've got a few other actual Lego models that are dinosaur themed that I would like to have up there. And you'll probably see the bricker builds dinosaur models. We've got those 3 there and a few others that are in progress. Those will end up there as well. So going to end up with a much nicer display area organized over there. It'll be great to show off a number of these builds in a nice, easy to see way around the main room here. So really happy about that and excited about getting that moving along. And worth noting, we've been adding slowly to that shelf up on the top there, but I've got a few more builds that'll be coming online in the next probably couple of weeks that'll start to go up there. We've got a few more Star Wars themed builds. I want to get the Lego Bumblebee up on the shelf there by the Optimus Prime. I'm really excited about the new Lego Soundwave that they announced. So looking forward to picking that up, getting that built. I don't know if it'll go up there immediately. I might have it on a sort of lower area that's easier to see and appreciate initially, but I could see it going up there with Optimus and Bumblebee as well. So, again, just looking to really maximize and utilize a lot of the display areas that we have around the room here. And, in the process then freeing up more space on the floor for moving around and working on sort of the current project of the moment. Now over to the shelving display area that we have by our Acro Mills containers. Really great shelves here, and we've talked about this in recent videos, but looking to utilize the shelves over here more. And we're hopefully getting close to these Winter Village buildings, moving down into the lower layout in the Winter Village section that we're building out. So really excited to start opening this up for additional display area for other builds that we're working on. If you saw recently, we finished building the Lego Endurance ship. Really excited about that. It was a lot of fun to build and see how that came together. And this is an awesome shelf area for it to be displayed on, I think. We've still got a few things that we're looking to move off of there to make some more room on this shelf, but I see this and probably the shelf above becoming a Lego ship display area. We have the Titanic build that we have been waiting on for, shelf space to open up. And I think that, the Endurance can probably move this way a bit, and then we can probably fit the Titanic there. And we have several other larger scale Lego ship models that would be nice to have up on the top shelf there. So going to be working through that, getting those shelves emptied out, and then starting to fill them up with those other builds as we finish them. And, I think it'll make this a really cool additional display space over here on this wall. Nice to be able to group things that are sort of like or similar or like models together. So I think that having all the ships over here should be really cool, and, is going to be, make this a really impressive portion of our display area. Now, taking a look at this corner of the Lego room from a different angle, this is still a very chaotic corner of the room and lots to work on over here as we try to tame things and get things into a more organized state. You'll notice I've been making a big push to get all of the Acro Mills part containers that I've had on different surfaces around the room. I've got a bunch of them up on top of the bins over there. There's still a number that are living over here on this shelving unit, but working hard to get those reintegrated back into the Acro Mills bins and containers there where it makes sense. And, where those parts are, going to be used for specific builds, I want to push ahead on those builds so that we can, empty those things out and, get our surface space back over here. I really love the Acro Mills containers. I think they're great. It's just, when parts come in from Bricklink orders, I don't have a great system for getting them into containers over here, or necessarily getting things built super fast that, we're using those parts. So there's a few things I want to do there. There's some things I need to think about with parts that don't necessarily have a home currently in our system, which there is a number. Lego's constantly putting out new colors, new parts. So there are things that aren't accounted for currently in our organization system over here. So some things I need to figure out there, but basically want to really tame the parts that are floating around the room to make it easier to find stuff and, turn some of these projects around a little bit quicker. So lots of stuff ahead here. There are a number of projects and, different ideas that are floating around in the parts that we have here. And we have a lot of parts that we need to get sorted out still so that we can use them in various projects. So that's going to be an ongoing thing, but you can see that, there's some steps that are being taken here to organize and control the chaos. So looking forward to continuing to get that part of the room more organized and easier to use. And that will, as part of that, freeing up this area here so that we can finish off the Coliseum and stadium builds and have those properly on display here is going to be a big thing that I'm pushing on as well. So looking forward to, as I said, getting things built on display and filling out some of the wall space and the vertical parts of the Lego room. So lots on the go here, lots of train work and layout work still going on this part of the layout as well. So an ongoing process, but really happy with how things are coming together over here. And you'll see more of some of the work that I've talked about here in upcoming videos as we sort of chew through some of the work that needs to be done over here. And one of the immediate modules that's going to benefit from the parts organization is the Vinegar Factory, which is going to go right here in the layout, at least initially. It's a 2-module by 3-module complex that we're going to be working on. It's going to be nice to have it in the layout here, but we're also planning on using it in a group display that we are participating in near the end of the summer. So really excited about that. It will be great to be able to find the parts with a little greater ease as we're putting this model together. But definitely something to keep an eye out for as we move through projects over the next couple of weeks. I think that finished module is going to look amazing, and looking forward to having it done and ready to go for that show at the end of the summer as well. So that organization and, sort of workflow improvement has been carrying through into our Lego office space. This is just off of the main Lego room. And, got a lot of things on display here. It's also where I work on videos and builds. So, a lot of different things happen in this room, and it can get very chaotic as well. One of the things I've been working on in here is finishing out a number of our Lego helmet builds. So really happy with how that shelf is coming along. More to finish up there, but I think that's going to be a very cool display area. We also have, like we talked about, our Bricker Builds models here are going to move out to the new display area we're building out in the main Lego room. So that will open up some space for some additional Lego vehicle builds, which I think will be really nice to have on display there. We've got a number of our vehicle builds on display over on this shelf here. And, this is one of the ones that we recently finished. Really, really happy with how the Corvette turned out. I've got the roof behind it there, but I like displaying it with the roof off. Really cool looking model. So looking forward to, adding some additional vehicles to the display area in here. Need to get that truck finished off as well. But, I think that the shelving area here, this second shelf, will be a nice spot for those additional vehicles builds. So looking forward to that. And we've even got some more display area over here. Love the waving cat build there. That was a fun set. We've got the creeper there. We've got the Ahsoka Tano Bricker Builds lightsabers there. Really cool stuff. And then, another area over here where we can definitely work on some improvements and getting additional builds on display. So really happy with the progress we're making in here, and it will enable us to continue to work on a number of builds with greater ease. We've got our Metra passenger train cars. All the parts are there ready to go. We've got the parts laid out here for three or four different locomotives that we've got the instructions for. So a number of them have been started there, but definitely want to work through and get those finished out so that we can have them running around the layout and, open up more space for other projects that we have coming down the pipeline. So lots of cool stuff in here, and happy with how it's moving along. But, like I said, all a work in progress. And, I expect that some of these display areas will change over time. As we get more builds finished and around in the room, we'll probably decide to group things in different ways. But nice to be able to sort of maximize the display areas that we have. So definitely a lot of projects on the go, but, a lot of fun working through these things. And, we're definitely starting to see some of the acceleration gains from the organization improvements, the cleaning up of some of the spaces around the room. So really happy about that. I think it's going to enable us to get back into the Lego City part of the layout very soon. We've got a number of lighting projects and buildings that we want to put together there. We've got a lot of lighting plans in general, and I've got some parts that are kicking around as well for roadways in the Lego City. So lots ahead there, and looking forward to getting back into that part of the layout. Also planning on starting to pull some of these things off of the display area that we have over there with the bookcases. Some of those things will still stay on display. They'll just get moved to different areas. Some of them are things that we don't want to display long term, so we'll probably break those down, put them into appropriate storage areas over in the Acro Mills. And all of that will help us open up some space for other builds that we want to have displayed over there as well. So really looking forward to that. I think it should be great. And, that's going to carry around the other corners of the room as well. We've got a number of pieces of track kicking around with all the work we've been doing on the lower layout. We're going to start coming up with some different ways to organize the track that we're not using currently. Some things will go into different storage bins. We'll work out what's going to get stored as just loose track, what we might store as finished modules that we can pull from for, group displays that we go out and do, for things that we might change up around the layout here. We've also got a number of our 9-volt tracks over there. And that's something that you'll see more of on the channel in the coming weeks. I'm going to be building out initially we'll do some tests before we start moving towards mills, but I would like to get the 9-volt track all on mills as well, so that we can take that out to group shows, ultimately, but also so that we can easily sort of build up and take down a 9-volt layout on some sort of regular cadence. I don't think it's going to be something that we have permanently up here in the Lego room, or, maybe we'll find another space for it in the spare bedroom upstairs. But, I think that track organization is going to become a bigger thing here as we continue to add a lot of different modules for the layout here, as we start to build things that are used for different shows that might not be things that, we want to have used 100% of the time here in the Lego room. So lots of work ahead on the track front, and lots of just building in general. That corner's become a bit of a catch-all for our unbuilt Lego sets. We've got some other spaces around the basement here, as well as upstairs, where unbuilt sets have moved around to, but we'll be pushing to get more and more of those built and on display in various ways around the room. So, continue to be excited. Lots of cool stuff underway and moving along for the channel and for the Lego room here. So continue to keep an eye out on the channel for videos related to the work we're doing here around the space to organize it. But, lots more train videos ahead. Looking forward to getting those Metra cars finished and, test drive those around the layout. I think they should be amazing, and I'm looking forward to building out more of them so we can have a longer metro train. We've got a number of locomotives, including the metro locomotive that is in progress that we'll hopefully be able to finish up soon and showcase on the channel. So lots of fun stuff ahead on the train front, lots of city building, industry building as we continue to fill a number of these gaps around the layout, add things to the lower layout, and get things ultimately ready for our next show that we're displaying at. So lots of cool stuff, lots of work, lots of projects, but like I said, happy with the progress that we're making and looking forward to showing you guys some of the next steps as we move through the process. But thank you guys very much for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thanks again for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.